How you all doing? Alexander here. And what I want to talk about today, real quick, is about dating in the West and what it has turned into in the last 50 years, 60 years, maybe 30, maybe 20, but fairly recently. It's a fairly new invention for us as a society, right? Coming from a very traditional society globally into modern dating has become a game of hunting or cat and mouse, right? It has turned into something where you have to win a person over, in a sense, win with your power or win a situation where you are in the position of more power over the other person, where you control them, where you have an upper hand. Okay, this is why men mindlessly kill themselves in the pursuit for money. Money equals power in the current society, right? So in the pursuit for money and power, in whatever way possible, politics, crime, just being really good employee, business, right? Also becoming physically stronger, right? Gym, steroids, all that stuff. And women pursue beauty, right? Makeup, beauty procedures, Botox, fillers, gym, surgery, right? Whatever, BBL, whatever other shit people do, right? And the whole game is this, right? So you have more power over the other person. And then, these are kind of things people do outside of dating in a sense, right? And then when they're in a conversation with the other person, developing a relationship in a dating situation, they play games of cat and mouse, right? Games of showing a little bit intent and then falling back, being interested but playing a little bit disinterested. Women do these things better, kind of organically, naturally. That's they have these conversations with each other since they're start being interested in men, whenever they're 12, 13, 14, right? They start having these conversations, maybe even earlier, but they start having these conversations with each other. Oh yeah, that guy's interested in me, but I don't know, maybe I'm gonna play a little bit cold with him, this, that, ignore him for a day, ignore him for a couple hours. This is just like, it becomes natural part of courtship process for them. It doesn't even occur once they get into 20s, 25. It doesn't even occur that it's something they're doing to manipulate. They're just like, oh yeah, that's what you do. That's part of the process. That's natural. That's normal. That's how you catch them. That's how you win. That's how you have an upper hand. You beat them down with disinterest, so they feel like they're getting something that's more pricey, that's more valuable, that's more important. Inflating value, right? The dating economics are mastered by women in that sense, in the majority proportion, right? Generally, women are more aware of these things. Not to say that they're bad or evil or anything. No, they're good. They're playing the modern dating game well. While men are a bit more aloof, a little bit more like, oh, hey, you're beautiful, here's flowers. Now, when you do that, right? And look, every situation is unique in a sense, so it doesn't mean that you don't do these things, right? In fact, I think it's great to be like that, to be open and upfront and vulnerable. But unfortunately, the initial part of the dating process is where people play a game of who has more value, who is less interested, who is only a little bit interested, right? Because if you have zero interest, it's different. But who's only a little bit interested, and the game is managing your interest between 0 and 1%, 0 and 0.1%. How much disinterest can you show while still showing a little bit of interest? This is what a lot of people play, that little seesaw, that little arc. And what happens is it kind of ruins genuinity. It ruins people being very natural, ruins people being very authentic with each other, right? It's like there is a time when it's okay to be authentic, and everything else before that is a game. And once you play the game enough, it kind of becomes you. You become the player, right? And you're gonna get lost in that process, because that's the only thing that you're good at, the initial thing. And that's why you just always want a new relationship, a new date. And a lot of people get stuck in that process of dating, oh, I'm dating. Well, like you're doing that process, you're not doing the other process. And we become quite cold, we become quite closed off, because you're better at playing the game if you're naturally less interested, right? Because it's quite hard to fake disinterest. It's way easier to a low interest. It's way easier to naturally have low interest, and there are things that can help you to have low interest, right? That's why a lot of people have a lot of options. You know, you're speaking to a lot of people. A lot of men try to put themselves in a situation where they have a lot of beautiful women around them. So, and one beautiful woman is not as important. It doesn't have as much value in his life when there's another 10 or 100 around. But a lot of men, well, men compete to be in those situations, and some get there obviously, and then some don't, right? And women, you know, they put their pictures on social media in bikinis and push-up bra and yoga pants and whatever else, you know, after gym. So they get a lot of men messaging them. So they're like, okay, you know, if they have 10, 20 men messaging them, they're not so invested to that 1 date, 2 dates, 3 dates with, or whatever, however many men they're talking to. They're not so invested, so they can be naturally less interested, naturally disinterested. This is modern dating. This is Western modern dating. Maybe, you know, I haven't been to Asia yet, but I can tell you, you know, this is British and European dating, pretty much, for majority of young people. I say young, under 40, and that's it's slowly, unfortunately, making people very unhappy. Making people ingenuine, making people just chase a position in life where there is less opportunity to be hurt and pained, right? But you know, this is a little brief for you to understand what's currently going on, and you make your own assessment, really, what's not working. You know, I'm not going to tell you that. I think a lot of people can see it for themselves and maybe see some benefits. A lot of people like to have more options, while you know, think that, you know, options is a variety, and options is what's beautiful about life for some people. Fair enough, you know, and then at some point, once you get tired of options, you want to go into depth. But unfortunately, being young and being conditioned into playing games, it's quite hard, unless you have very high self-awareness. It becomes quite challenging for people to undo the wiring and the conditioning done by that process. So this is something to think about. You let me know whether you think it's good or not so good. And have a lovely day.